Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. I just want to quickly do the good, the bad, and the ugly of this Detroit Pistons versus the Washington Wizards. It was a battle of who's the worst team in the NBA, and it was certainly that. But I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. I can definitely say that there are some good things to definitely take away from your Detroit Pistons. Let me just start off with, if you watch this game, which I didn't really have a hard time doing because I think I've shifted my expectations in terms of what I'm going to see, meaning I'm looking for development more so than wins and losses. But it's to say that one of the good things that I would say is you have to love the individual game, the games of each of these players, whether it's Marcus Sasser, Isaiah Livers, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, even Isaiah Stewart, Jaden Ivey for sure, looked really good in this game. Asar Thompson continues to be just an absolute menace, second coming of Sean Marion type defensive stalwart. Even James Wiseman. Killian Hayes as well. When you watch this game, you can't help but imagine what it looks like when they put it all together. And I think that that's kind of the major takeaway. It was, man, when these guys figure themselves out, when this young core figures out how to be consistent at who they are going to be extremely exciting to watch. They're going to be a team that you're going to say, you know what, man, they have a core. They have a core that you can see going extremely far in a playoff run one day. And I'd probably shoot it out to maybe like 4 to 5 years from now, right? In about 4 seasons, you're going to start seeing them be a real playoff team, not just fringe play-in, but a real playoff team, a 4, 5, 6 seed, potentially pushing into the second round. Now, let me just go with the bad. The bad was they couldn't knock down a shot to save their life. And I think the worst part about it was like watching each and every one of those shots go in and out of the rim, whether it was Cade, Livers, Sasser. The only one who was really consistently hitting from the outside was Jaden Ivey, which I would say as a plus, leaning back towards the good, he was far more under control in this game, far more decisive. He probably seems like one of the more polished in terms of knowing what the expectation is for him within the flow of this offense. He went right into his bag in terms of getting downhill, attacking the rim, making a quick decision, whether to dish it off or to finish at the rim, not trying to make the complicated passes of, kicking out behind himself, which he did once or twice, but not as much as would really be concerning, and it didn't lead to as many turnovers. But many, especially in the first half, many of his assists were of that nature, getting downhill and making a quick decision, whether it was a short lob to Duren or Asar, or it was a high finish at the rim, or a dump off to either of the two. He just looked really under control and really decisive, and that was a huge plus. I think that he is showing us what the fans have kind of been clamoring for since seeing him start the season off the bench, which I was not upset about, because here's the thing. Monty Williams is on the same page with Troy Weaver. He's on the same page with the owner, with Dwayne Casey. They know that they want that backcourt in the future. They know they want to see that much talent together and see what they can do. But there's a certain level of accountability that you have to have. And when Cade is turning the ball over as much as he was, which he didn't as much as in this game, which is a great kind of plus to see that he was not turning the ball over as much. But it's to say that they want to see Jaden Ivey out there. And so him not starting him, meaning Monty Williams not starting him and making him earn that starting position, I think had everything to do with his not coming into the season defensively locked in, or being sound with the ball. And I think that that's a part of the bad that we saw once again, is that Jaden Ivey's handle is still shaky, which is real awkward to see. Usually when you're a guard coming into the NBA, your handle is one of those things that is supposed to be pretty on lock. But it isn't just his handle, it's how he dribbles when it gets congested, when he's not operating in space. He has a hard time gauging the distance of that help defender. And he dribbles the ball really high and struggles to know when to get low with it, when to kick it out and not force the issue. And I think it's a stark contrast when you see Cade and you see Sasser and you see Killian Hayes be able to make those decisions, get their handle low, operate in that kind of herky-jerk, in and out, kind of priming the defense, and be able to make a good decision. He's just not there yet. But it's to say that was kind of a part of the bad. Another part of the bad was Jalen Duren still picking up bad fouls. Look, he's too important to his team to pick up silly fouls. Like give up the layup to Daniel Gafford. We don't care. You got 2 fouls. Okay, Gafford has position. You tried to help on a block shot, didn't get it. Okay, Gafford, give him the layup. Just keep your hands straight up, And these are things that Jalen Duren has to learn. Another part of the bad was, I have to say, Isaiah Stewart's jump shot not falling. It's really tough to play him at the 4 if his jump shot is not falling, because now you have 3 non-shooters on the court, and that including Asar and Duren. And so I think I did appreciate that Monty Williams did go with Isaiah Livers sooner in the rotation, quickly going with him and pulling out Stewart. And I would not be adverse to seeing Isaiah Livers get more and more early playing time and Isaiah Stewart relegated more to a off the bench big man. Let me just also say, I'm moving to the ugly because I think this is probably where it needs to kind of wrap up. The ugly was them not just not being able to make a shot, but Cade Cunningham's defense was pretty, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but it was not at the level of the expectation of the type of culture that I thought this team was trying to set early in the season, which I felt like they were when they were going with Duren lineups and Asar Thompson, Killian Hayes even. Those guys were just playing at a level of defense that just really brought the best out of Cade Cunningham. And unfortunately, now it's just like, I think with Jaden Ivey next to him, the expectation of the level of defense that he has to play might just be more than he's ready for, considering the offensive burden that he's also carrying. Which is why I kind of liked Isaiah Livers. But this kind of goes to the ugly, is that I needed Monty Williams to play with his rotation a little bit more, especially in that second half, because when they were going cold from the field, he did not make the adjustment of putting Asar Thompson on Kyle Kuzma. On Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma got hot, and look, let me just be frank. Kyle Kuzma is not an all-star. He's not a star. He's a guy that got it going, and you cannot have a guy of Asar Thompson's caliber on the bench, a guy who you could have put on him and stopped everything that Kuzma was doing. I mean, single-handedly. I mean, you've seen what he did to guys like Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? He is an absolute menace. When he was on Jordan Poole in the first half, absolutely took him out of his game. He just completely just I had an old coach call it a torpedo. You just send in this torpedo and it just blows up whatever this offensive minded player is trying to do. And I thought that move was sitting there for the taking. I thought it would have been better to bring him in, take Isaiah Stewart off of him, take Isaiah Livers off of him, save those guys and bring them back in the rotation for when you had, what's his name, Danilo Gallinari going off. I thought Isaiah Stewart would have been a much better matchup against Gallinari. But I feel like that failure to make that adjustment cost them the game. It really did. It was a close game. They started missing shots. I think they also forgot that their defense is their best offense. It literally is. Their ability to get out in transition, get easy buckets, gets everybody going. Literally, it got everybody going in that first half and allowed them to control the game and at least stay in the game. To be able to control the pace in that way was a huge plus for them, which I feel like they got away from. By the time that they brought Asar Thompson back in the second half and had him on Danny Avdia, I thought that was just a bad matchup because Danny has the size, but he also has kind of like that veteran savvy to like get into Asar's head. And Asar is going to learn not to get into the back and forth and pick up ticky-tack fouls. And, he showed why he's still a rookie. But it's to say that making those types of adjustments could have kept them in this game, kept them within, distance, and not allowed it to get away from them. By the time they brought in their main guys, they were already down 16 and they never recovered. But there's a lot that was promising about this team in this game for the Detroit Pistons. I'm excited to see them continue to develop because, like I said, if you watch this game, you have to love the game of each of those young guys. And literally, whether it's Jalen Duren being absolutely dominant on the interior, making really heads-up passes with his playmaking, whether it was Isaiah Stewart continuously brings that physicality. And if he can knock down his three-point shot, even at an average clip, it really changes the complexion of this team. Asar Thompson's defense is just otherworldly. And he got out in transition. And he also did a good job scoring in straight line drives in the half court. Even though I think a part of the ugly was just really bad spacing at times and the lack of patience for the guys to get the ball on the perimeter and tell guys to get the hell out of there. If you got 4 shooters and 1 big, why do you have 3 perimeter guys all on one side of the court and then the other perimeter guy in the middle of the paint with the other big? Like you shouldn't be overloaded in that way in an offensive set. And if you're at 16 seconds left in the shot clock, hey, pull it out, even out the court, and get into your secondary action. But there was a huge lack of that in the half-court offense. But at the end of the day, Jaden Ivey looked much improved. His chemistry with Cade Cunningham looks a whole lot better, which you can really appreciate. Marcus Sasser, I continue to love his game. God, I love his game. So under control. Every time he shoots, you almost expect it to go in. Great form. Always seems balanced when he's shooting. And does a great job getting into the paint and playmaking for others and himself. Killian Hayes continues to have that type of game where you're just like, yeah, he's going to stick around in the league. Which before I don't think we thought. Isaiah Livers is looking better and better with his jump shot and good defense. He plays a nice physical brand of defense, and at 6'7", 230 pounds, it gives him, a good amount of versatility at that wing position. James Wiseman even had some moments, even though he still feels like he needs to get stronger still, which I don't understand 4 years in, but, that's where he's at. But at the end of the day, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about this game, the good and the bad and the ugly of it. Get at me in the comment section. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Peace.